Please do not try this at home. According to numerous requests in the comments, today we would test the strength of keys of a very different price range. All these keys have the same dimension, 17 millimeters. The cost between the cheapest and the most expensive key differs by almost 40 times. This is the cheapest key I could find. This is some kind of Chinese no-name. The width of the horn part is less than 17 millimeters, so it will be difficult to put such a key or nut or bolt. A golden key with an instant inscription, Cybertech. But Cybertech is just an important. In fact, the real key is real China, worth $1.50. But this is the real key of a Russian production, Kamenchinsky plant of a locksmith assembling tools. As far as I know, this is the only manufacturer that makes keys in Russia. Its cost, by the way, is even lower than that of the previous Chinese. And then there are keys of famous manufacturers. A key worth more than $5, the famous Taiwanese company Jones Wei. A little cheaper is a key made in Germany by the company worth $4. And finally, the most expensive key that I only managed to find on sale is the famous tool manufacturer Milwaukee, USA, worth $14. I don't know yet how this key in terms of its mechanical characteristics, but visually it is made incomparably. The most ideal production. Such a key, not like in the garage, but it's not ashamed to hang it on the wall in the living room. It has such a strong mirror effect that the camera can hardly focus on it. Before the test, we measure whether these keys have any deviations. Ideally, the mouth of the key should have a width of 17 millimeters, which in principle corresponds to expensive keys. Well, cheap China is already starting to dance. One of the cheapest Chinese, as I measured at first, less than 17 millimeters. And some even 17.3 millimeters. With the Russian key, by the way, everything is normal in terms of dimension. This is how, for clarity, the keys will look having a dimension of 17.3 dressed on a 17 millimeter hexagon. There is a decent backlash here, which does not bode well. And a key having a dimension of less than 17 millimeters is almost impossible to put on a hexagon. It already turns out to be a carob, but a cape. Well, and of course, how is such a test without a key made in the era of missing highly developed civilization? Keys made in the USSR. I have several of them here. All of them are made, judging by the markings, at different factories. There are even export options. Export, perhaps even some went to Cuba. Perhaps even Solaris turned the engine to this Challenger with them. You're wrong. Some of the keys were already in use, as evidenced by the worn-out mouth. But of course, we would take the key that has not been used for the experiment, as evidenced by its corresponding size and even barely noticeable traces, and miling on the surface of contact. And yet, I managed to buy such a dinosaur. This key was made in the 20s of the last century. That is, this key is 100 years old. It is American-made. Came in a toolkit to the Tractor International, which was supplied by the Land Lease to the Soviet Union. Only there is one but. This key is not metric but inch, and all dimensions there are not very familiar to us, but we'll figure something out with it. But for now, let's see how much they differ in mass. The cheapest key weighs 88 grams. The second most expensive, Russian, almost 130. A 118-gram weighs a key that went under the tag Cybertech. The Germany key weighs the same amount. The Taiwanese Jones weighs almost 140 grams. And the heaviest of modern keys, the American Milwaukee, 187 grams. The Soviet key has mass similar to the Russian one. And finally, the American Dinosaur, 260 grams. This is the hardest key. Well, it's time to test them. In the Soviet vise, we will have a reference hexagon clamp. A key with the horn part will be put on it, and a hydraulic press will press on the opposite part through a strange gouge. All keys differ slightly in length, and in order for the test to be as objective as possible, the distance from the hexagon to the point on which the strain gauge presses will be the same in all experiments. And so, the first in line is the Chinese nameless key for 40 cents. Maximum load for the entire test period was 56 kilograms. The second camera clearly shows how the size of the pharynx and the horn part increased during the test. The second in line is a Russian-made key. The maximum load was 106 kilograms, which is twice as much as that of the unnamed Chinese. And now, a Chinese with a name, but also cheap. $98 kilograms. Still, he fell a little short of the Russian key. Although Chinese, it's still a little bit more expensive. Then it's the turn of the famous manufacturers. Taiwanese key, Jones Wei. 108 kilograms. 2 kilograms more than the Russian one. In principle, this is the limit of measurement error. Worth, Germany. A 124 kilograms, a very good indicator. This is better than the more expensive Taiwanese key, and this is considering that the mass of the German key is less. The most expensive key is Milwaukee, USA. Perhaps this is the best result, 213 kilograms. And if you look at the video from another camera, you can see that the hexagon did not turn in throat, but on the contrary, it caught on very well there and turned in the vise. A Soviet-made key. The Soviet key turned at a load of 122 kilograms. This is more expensive than Taiwan and almost as much as German has withstood. This is an excellent indicator given that similar horn Soviet keys are sold at a flea market at the price of scrap metal. And the last sample is an ancient American key. We hooked it on an 18mm square, since the bolts at that time, as a rule, were squared. $85 kilograms. Not as much as expected, and also plus the key is not bent but cracked. I immediately understood why. So let's look at what damage the key received during the test. The size of the Chinese no-name throat has increased to 18.5 millimeters. Yes, and plus to everything, he also went with the screw. Taiwanese key up to 17.6. Chinese Cybertech up to 18. Russian 17.7. German 17.5. the same as the old Soviet. The American key was the least damaged, 17.2 millimeters. And now I will show you the reason why the old American key burst and why it withstood not such a high load, despite its high mass and massive appearance. Because this key is not made of steel, but a cast of iron. Apparently, at the same time, such high efforts were not required to tighten the fastener. Since the opposite folding side of the keys remain untouched, and we have another Chinese no-name, we would check what kind of load the folding part of these 4 keys will withstand. So, the first in line is the Chinese without a name. "75 kilograms, not much more than in the first case. The Russian key. "276 kilograms, but the vise could not withstand it. The hexagon broke out. Now we will clamp another hexagon in a slightly different position so he has to keep a big load. Almost 300 kilograms, and the key burst. What kind of load can the German and American key withstand? Worth, Germany. "378 kilograms, but again, the hexagon flew out of the vise." Milwaukee, USA. "462 kilograms. I've already got the hexagon in the vise as tight as possible. They held him back, but the vise itself broke away from the wood and turned around. And a little more and they would have damaged the wire of the strained gouge. And this was a signal that it was time to stop testing these keys. That's the way the nameless Chinese went. She cut off an ear of a modern Russian key. The German key bent a little. And the most expensive American key visually did not receive any damage. Initially, we counted only on checking the horn part of the keys, but only later, during the testing process, we wanted to check the cap part again. But unfortunately, it was not possible to hold the hexagon well in such a vise. Some keys turned out to be too strong. Write in the comments which key, in your opinion, turned out to be the best. And also suggest that you want to see under the hydraulic press in the next video. And be sure to subscribe to the channel who hasn't subscribed to it yet. Thank you all for watching.